Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered Halloween. And this year we're going to talk about a little movie called Trick or Treats.
Hey! Didn't you do Trick or Treat last year?
No, last time I reviewed Trick or Treat with a T, singular. This time I'm reviewing Trick or Treats with an S. It's different.
Oh, wait a minute. You mean there's 3 movies called Trick or Treat?
Actually, according to IMDb, there's 4 apparently.
Whoa. Hollywood really is out of ideas.
Says the guy in a hockey mask named Mass Slasher.
Hey! Don't you insult the mask! My mom made this for me! Get over here!
Trick or Treats. When Halloween night stopped being fun. I'd say that happened sometime around part 5 when they abandoned the glorious tease at the end of 4, but that's just me. Anyway, Trick or Treats is a 1982 low-budget slasher film made at the height of the 80s slasher craze. And when I say low budget, I mean low budget. Cause this film was shot for a mere $55,000, $30,000 of which came out of writer-director Gary Graver's own pockets. On top of that, it was filmed almost exclusively at night over the course of 3 weeks in one of the actress's own homes. And most of the cast and crew was composed almost entirely of friends, family, and acquaintances of the director, as well as some fellow filmmakers, but even those can also be filed under friends and acquaintances. I guess what I'm trying to say is this film was a true do-it-yourself operation, something I very much admire.
But none of that's what's interesting about this movie. Because what's interesting about this movie is that it's a slasher film written and directed by Orson Welles' cinematographer.
You see, sometime in 1970, the then up-and-coming Gary Graver called Mr. Welles on a whim, explaining to him that he really wanted to work with him. Welles was naturally surprised by such a claim, as only one other person had ever called him to say that. And that other person was Greg Toland, the acclaimed cinematographer of Citizen fucking Kane. So he accepted Graver's offer, and from that point forward, their lives were forever linked. Graver would go on to work on countless Welles projects, including F for Fake, though sadly, most of their collaborations would go unfinished. One wouldn't even see the light of day until 2018, years after both of them had long passed away. Now that's what I call dedication, making films even beyond the fucking grave, damn. I guess that's why they call him Gary Graver,
Here's the thing though, Orson's projects were not exactly what you'd call profitable, especially during this period of his life. So as a result of that, Graver found himself in financial turmoil more often than not.
Because of this, Graver turned to pornography under the pseudonym Robert McCullum to make a living, which, for someone who wanted to make quote-unquote real movies, was incredibly disheartening. And that's when Graver struck upon a very simple idea. Why not make a slasher film? Because not only were those very popular at the time, they were also incredibly cheap to make, and could land Graver way more creative projects down the line. Sadly though, this would not come to pass as the film flopped hard, and Graver would find himself regulated to the exploitation and pornography worlds until the end of his days.
Anyway, put all that sad shit aside for the moment, because it's time for us to get ready to freak out the babysitter, as this week's October set thriller is none other than Trick or Treats.
So that's our title card? The logo from the poster with no sound or special effects? Kinda lame, not gonna lie. Not that it's any better when the actual score kicks in, mind you.
Trick or Treats, scored with all the whimsy of Leave It to Beaver.
Meanwhile, on the set of actress Carrie Snodgress's real-life home, an unhappy couple broods in awkward silence.
What time will you be home this evening?
Damn it, woman, can't you see I'm reading the Dilberts? Thankfully, though, their passive aggression is interrupted by the Tom Selleck twins here, who've come to take him away, have come to take him away.
Just calm
down.
Who are you? Going for a little ride, Malcolm.
I'm not going for any ride.
We're going for a little ride.
Joan, who is it?
Malcolm, now just...
Look, man, I totally understand your confusion because I've seen this movie over 20 times and I still can't figure out why they take you away.
Whatever the reason, he sure gives them a hell of a fight. Goddamn, look at him go. Also, these dudes came prepared as fuck because I'm pretty sure those are knee pads. Anyway, after a very refreshing swim, they successfully capture poor Malcolm here, and then drag him off to their Magnum PI-themed bondage party.
Help me, Joan! Help me!
And that right there's the look of a woman who doesn't have to smell her husband's beer farts anymore. Flash forward several years later, and we're introduced to our protagonist, Linda.
Well, do you really need me? Yeah, but, girl, my boyfriend, he's opening a place tonight, and I was planning on...
It's a good thing there's no actual water here, otherwise she might get electrocuted. Unfortunately for Linda, though, she's called in for a babysitting job on Halloween night, which means she can't make her boyfriend's big performance.
Wait, a slasher movie set on Halloween about a babysitter. Now where have I heard that one before? Yep, that's the one, and no other movie.
Is it just me, or is this dude way too excited about Linda not making this play?
What? Baby, it's my opening night! I'm counting on you!
Oh, Brett, don't you worry. I'll be your date. Notice me, senpai! Notice me!
I know, but the agency says I have to work or they'll fire me, and I can't afford to lose them. It's the only way I can have my days free to get my acting jobs.
Oh, don't worry, Linda. You'll get those acting jobs, seeing as you're, really good at, reading your lines.
Sadly, on her way to the babysitting gig, Linda's car refuses to start. No thanks to the 1982 equivalent of a reply guy here.
No, I gotta go to work.
No, I mean...
Oh, really, some other time, I promise.
What's the matter, baby? Don't you like to party?
Something tells me she's alright with parties, just not strange men with ominous scars accosting her in the street. Or right in front of her house, rather. Following that, we're reintroduced to Joan and her new husband, Richard, played by the Killed Bill himself, David Carradine. Also, it turns out that she and Malcolm had a kid before he was hauled off, so that's good to know.
You know that Richard and I have to go to this party. It's business.
It's not business. It's a party.
It's called networking, kid. Often they're one and the same.
Also, that audio desync you heard just a second ago was on my official copy, just in case you thought I fucked it up in post, 'cause I didn't. That's just the way the movie is, apparently. Anyway, Linda finally arrives, and surprise, surprise, her employers are in fact Joan and Richard. Something tells me Richard likes her a bit more than Joan, though.
Not even a little sip?
No.
Come on.
No.
Just a little.
Jesus Christ, she gets sexually harassed more than Mass Slasher!
Hey, big boy. I know where you can put that chainsaw.
Hey! That is unwanted sexual harassment. I am a slasher, not an object.
Whatever, bitch. Was a compliment.
Oh, I'll give you a compliment.
By the way, if Linda's reactions here feel authentic, that's because they are. You see, David Carradine ad-libbed a huge chunk of this sequence, including the unbuttoning of her shirt. Which is pretty yikesy if you ask me, though I suppose it could have been worse. I mean, it's not like he asked her to hang with him. Meanwhile, at low-rent Arkham Asylum, Penguin here plans his inevitable escape.
Perfect night for me to bust out of this bug house, Bert.
Yeah, well, that's what Debbie thought in Nightmare on Elm Street 4, and look how well that turned out. Back in Awkwardsville, Joan interrupts Richard's attempted infidelity and establishes dominance right quick. And even gets a snazzy new ring out of it. Damn, get it, girl!
Oh, yes, he's a real charmer.
Yeah, so is Cosby.
Help yourself to anything.
Except for my husband, you home-wrecking bitch.
Joan and Richard eventually fuck off to their party, while Linda is introduced to their kid, Christopher, who it turns out is an aspiring magician.
Death to the bourgeoisie!
You're cute. Are you the babysitter?
Oh, great. It looks like Christopher takes after Richard. Which, I guess would make him Little Richard.
Unfortunately for Linda, the rest of her night is going to be filled with Christopher's bad David Blaine impressions. Well, that and handing out candy to trick-or-treaters, which already justifies this movie's title more than the Ozzy Osbourne one, so I gotta give it that. Back at the asylum, though, we get a cameo from R. Michael Stringer, another cinematographer who also worked with Orson Welles.
I want to work with Orson Welles.
Oh, there, Giroux. At least you're fat enough to be him.
That doesn't help at all!
It wasn't supposed to.
Meanwhile, on the set of One Flew Over the Doo-Doo's Nest, Malcolm engages in his great escape, which apparently consists of knocking out the weirdly sensual nurse, stealing her rather convenient wig, and waltzing out the front door looking like Meatloaf in drag. And I would do anything in drag, and I'll even...
Oh, why, certainly, officer.
You got knocked the fuck out!
Back in the house of the Chris Angel reject, tensions continue to escalate between Christopher and Linda, until said tensions are broken by a phone call from Linda's boyfriend.
Hello?
Hi, honey. It's me. How's your evening?
Wait, hold the phone. How did he get her number again? Because earlier, when she was about to give it to him, he was all like...
Okay, I'll see you. I gotta go. Bye.
Look, you probably got our number the same way we slashers appear on the other side of a door, no matter where we were in the previous shot.
And how's that?
Oh, mainly for plot convenience.
What the fuck?
Time to go to the Shadow Realm, dude. Come on.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most pointless character of them all? Meanwhile, on the set of The French Connection, Malcolm finds a payphone and then phones home. Watch out there, Linda, the call's coming from outside the house. Following an awkward stalkery exchange, Linda then trips, presumably so she wouldn't be wearing shoes in the next scene. And yes, it's that obvious. Oh no, Christopher is drowning. Oh no. Yeah, it's another prank.
Thanks for the kiss, baby.
Yeah, that's sexual assault, my dude, so, you just wait right there. I'm gonna make a very important call. Yeah, police, I found a 10-year-old rapist.
Seriously, I thought this was a slasher film, but now I'm convinced Linda's gonna go all rape revenge on his ass. And not a single jury would convict her either. Anyway, after getting all wet from the pool, Linda puts on Joan's nightgown, and it becomes pretty clear that angry old Malcolm is gonna mistake her for his wife eventually. But before that, time for Linda to fall for another obvious fake-out.
I'm gonna lock you in your room, you little monster!
No locks on my doors. Sorry.
You see, kid, you spent so much time asking yourself, Houdini, you forgot to ask, why Dini?
I mean, what hack piece of shit taught him magic anyway? Oh. Well, I guess that makes sense. Never mind. Carry on then. Jeez, talk about egg on my face. A fed-up Linda tries to confront Christopher, but ends up face-to-face with Count Runtula here instead.
I'm ready to suck your blood.
Hey, I do not know what or who that thing is, but I swear to Satan, I wear a condom. The big ones.
Man, this kid is such a great actor, you can hardly even tell he was the director's son. Meanwhile, Malcolm gets a taste of what life as a modern woman is like, and he takes it like a champ.
Hey! Okay. That was legit funny.
I honestly can't tell if this is another prank or if I accidentally put on my copy of Phantasm. Either way, though, this movie would be greatly improved by the inclusion of the tall man. Anyway, it turns out this is indeed a ding-dong ditch prank, which understandably turns Linda into a ding-dong bitch.
Trick or treat!
I'd say title drop, but technically that was the title of the other movies.
Hey, what's the director doing the PA's job for? Damn, this movie really is low budget. Meanwhile, on the set of Coming to America, we're introduced to two drunks, one of which is played by Paul Bartel, who happens to be the director of Eating Raoul, another movie which Graver also worked on.
Hey, there's nothing in this.
I get some.
You drink.
I gotta get some.
Aw, come on, dude. No need to whine about it.
Man, this episode of RuPaul's Drag Race got gritty as fuck. Meanwhile, in the behind-the-scenes footage, we are introduced to Linda's friend Andria, who happens to be an editor of a similarly schlocky film as the one I'm currently riffing.
The blood really looks fake.
This attempt at meta-comedy would probably be a lot better if this movie had, I don't know, some actual blood in it maybe? Seriously, we're almost an hour in and not a single person has died yet. Come on, Gary, the gorehounds are starving over here. Just give us a taste. Just give us a bite of that juicy red goodness.
Do you think people will ever get tired of these films?
Nope. I think people are always interested in the latest monster that will pop up, or how much more blood can be spilled, or how many more guts can be ripped out.
Wow, I'm feeling really attacked right now.
I gotta admit though, I kinda wanna see this movie within a movie. I mean, look, it's got some actual gore in it. Nice!
Nurse, give me head.
The head?
Yes, the head!
I honestly can't tell if that's supposed to be a parody of the horror movies that were coming out around that time, or if it's supposed to be a parody of the pornographic movies that Graver was making around that time. But if I'm honest, it's probably a bit of both.
Linda calls Andria and asks if she can bring over Linda's scene from the movie so that she can show it to her agent later, with the intention of getting those good old acting jobs that she's totally qualified for. And just in case you thought I was exaggerating about this movie's body count earlier, the movie makes it clear that even the nurse survived Malcolm's assault when he escaped.
He jumped me as I leaned to tuck him in. He threw me on the bed and then jumped on top of me and put it in my mouth. Put it in my mouth.
She said put it in her mouth. Yeah.
Shit, man, I've heard of extras looking into the camera before, but this is ridiculous. No more time for that, though, as the next scene has some funky-ass audio dubbing.
I have to go to Worcester, near La Brea.
You wanna go to Wish in La Brea? That's 35 cents, boy. Sit down.
My favorite part here is that you can totally tell they just filmed him getting on a bus for really reals and just inserted that into the movie. Turns out the bus ride is fast as fuck, though, as Malcolm has already arrived home. Which is fine by me, it's about time this movie got to the killin'. Unfortunately, though, Linda is distracted by another prank, which puts her in the garage and not in the house proper, so we're just gonna have to wait.
I'm a cannibal and I bring you human flesh to eat at night.
You're probably a midget.
Hey now, don't bring the vertically challenged into this. They could be cannibals too.
I'd be careful going up there, my dude. You might summon Beetlejuice. Unfortunately for Andria, though, she arrives just in time to miss Linda, and in the epitome of nonsensical character choices, she climbs up into the attic. Instead of just, leaving the footage there for Linda to pick up later.
You're not Joan?
You're getting obscene phone calls?
Mm-hmm. A few. Some weirdo keeps calling and tells me he's coming over here.
Yeah, and his name was Billy, and he uses multiple voices at once, and oh shit, wrong holiday. Meanwhile, on the set of Rocket Man, Christopher prepares for his next prank, and holy shit, is that the Maniac soundtrack? And the howling as well? Damn, Christopher! Maybe I was too quick to judge.
Wait. He's fat, aggressively horny, has a shitty sense of humor, owns horror soundtracks? Oh my god. I'm Christopher!
Well, you done it now, Giroux. Guess there's nothing left to do except take you out back and put you out of your misery. Come here, buddy.
is happening here?
Little practical joker.
Linda finds the kid endearing now? When did that happen? Enough of that poorly placed plot development, though, as it's finally time for the worst game of Guess Who I have ever seen.
I'm home, Joan.
Christopher, I told you not to.
Don't look at me!
Shit, man, it's true what they say. Knife guys do finish last. Now this right here is just some Scooby-Doo ass shit. Anyway, the chase eventually leads back into the garage, where Malcolm discovers he's not a vampire.
Oh!
I gotta be honest, though, this scene is getting real tiring. Eventually, Linda's location is ratted out, though, which leads to a back alley noir miss, and then some Jeep thrills.
Are you going on a little expedition?
Hey, buddy, leave the bad jokes to the professionals, okay? Jeez, make one good pun and everyone thinks they're a horror host.
The chase finally moves back inside, where Andria corpses bad, and Linda wakes up Christopher.
A ghost? A killer? You mean the guy with the big knife?
Wait, you knew he was there the whole time? What the fuck, Christopher?
Linda and Christopher eventually tag team Malcolm, and ooh, I like where this is beheading.
He died as he lived. Highly contrived and implausible.
I promise I won't do it anymore. No more tricks.
But there will still be plenty of treats.
That did not taste nearly as good as it looked. I guess hindsight's 20/20.
But wait, 'cause there's more. As after Linda leaves, Christopher picks up the knife after all and decides to do one last trick.
I'd like to report I'm dead.
So that was Trick or Treats, and yeah, it's definitely the lesser movie to carry that title.
This movie's got a silly yet endearing sense of humor, but unfortunately, it lacks in the slashing department. There's only 2 on-screen deaths throughout the entire movie, and the first one doesn't happen until an hour and 10 minutes in. That's after 2/3 of the movie have already gone by. Which would be okay if the movie had the suspense or the story to carry the rest of it, but unfortunately, it does not. It just feels so padded out, and this causes the rest of the movie to drag about halfway through. That being said, there is a low-grade charm to it that made me smile more often than not, so I'm not going to say it's entirely worthless, but it's definitely not something I would highly recommend, which is actually a rarity for this channel.
So there you have it, my fellow gorehounds, a rare negative review from yours truly, but you know what? The one positive thing I can absolutely say about this movie is that the guy who made it got to work with Orson Welles till the end of his days. What have you done with your life?
Come on, what, you never seen tits before? Take them off!
Pull up a chair, deep in the crib, from a blood red chalice you must take a sip. Sit right back for a flick, see gore and entrails and slimy
Hey, final girls, it's me, my Slasher. I'm just here to tell you to slash that subscribe button and stab that notification bell and maybe check out that fat piece of crap's fucking Patreon page. Or I'll slash or not slash you depending on your personal preference.
Welcome, you gorehounds, the beat